All right. So lovely to be here at the end of the day for most of us. So let's check in. So just share with us what you've been noticing about your thoughts today, where you are at the moment, and especially if you have noticed any thoughts that seem to keep repeating themselves about food and eating and body. And you don't have to have remembered those or not, but those are always interesting. Those maybe one of them is what we'll take through inquiry. So, well, Jess, how about if you start?
You know what? Let me just get. I have to get the sound on my headphones, which is going to happen very quickly. I think there it is. Okay.
All right.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, there.
pretty great. Yeah.
Good. Thank you. I've noticed that I wake up every single morning thinking about my weight. Every single morning. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that before I even opened my eyes, I'm reviewing what I did just before I went to sleep
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and what it feels like in my body. Like, oh, am I fat today? It's like that's the question today. Oh, do I feel fat today? Am I
Yeah.
fat today? Um,
Yeah.
I did that Marco Polo about going to the picket lines,
Uh-huh.
freezing cold, all bundled up. I'm thinking, oh, I look fat. What the hell is that? It's like,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
I
Just in a way, it's great to hear it. You don't realize
yeah.
how it's like hanging like a sign or something, or like there's words hanging in the air all the time.
Mm.
Helpful to see, how do I look? I look fat. I am fat. This is not right.
It's like a constant chatter, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. You bet.
and this constant chatter is always about what I look like to someone else, what I feel like, what the other person looks like, how do I compare, and it is a constant.
Yeah. So good. I mean, fantastic to notice it. Just watching it, watching that stream of thinking, just kind of the survival brain, I think of it as, or the lizard brain, or the one that wants to protect,
Yeah.
make sure you're doing it right.
Hmm.
So,
The beastie brain.
the what brain?
Beastie.
Beastie brain. The
The
beastie brain.
beastie brain. I'm moving
Yeah.
myself into another room, so sorry about the. I hope it doesn't make anyone sick. We're moving.
Okay. And I love, I see the Lisa's here. Yay. Kevin's here. Maggie's here. Jerry Ann's here. So we're just checking in, everybody, and you can say hi, and Heidi's here. If you haven't been here yet, hello. If you feel like introducing yourself, just what you're noticing about your thoughts, that where we are in the check-in, just where you're at, what you've been seeing about your thoughts, anything interesting to share from inquiry, just a landing and arriving here, and then we'll do a group inquiry. So
I sorry.
yeah, yeah.
It's really funny because something that I've been doing is kind of saying out loud like what I'm thinking if it's like really like negative. And on the video, you were saying if you're like at a dinner party, you kind of just say it like this.
Right.
Like with my daughter, and I was like rushing her, and like I was like being really hard on myself and whatever. I was feeling like anxious. And I was like, we were getting out of the bath and I was crying her. We had like an appointment to go to, and I was like putting lotion on her, and I'm like, I'm not being my nicest today. She's like, what? She also is getting over a cold, so she can't hear anything I say. And I'm like, nothing. I'm like, it's okay. And I'm like, I'm being so hard on myself. And she's like, what? And I'm like, nothing. I'm just saying out loud what I'm thinking. But it kind of like made everything just like really funny. Like, I'm being so hard on myself. I'm like rushing through this and like just like being the like so hard on myself right now about like that tension that I'm feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And then just saying it out loud, I'm like, oh, like it's just
Yeah.
it almost makes it silly. So I've
Nice.
been
Yeah.
like the most recent, because that happened like today, like a couple hours ago, but just like doing that, like, you know, throughout the day has been pretty interesting.
Yeah, I love it. It is very helpful. It's like even if you feel sort of concerned or worried or disturbed or something, say, well, if I just start talking out loud right now and just see what it is that I'm thinking, let's see, what could I be thinking? What is this disturbance saying? And it just makes it more, you know, very, because it's very fast and very unconscious. So that's cool. Love it. All right. Jerry Ann, hello. How are you today?
Oh, I am well, thank you.
Good.
Let's see. The thoughts that I'm aware of are around, I think, unworthiness, not being deserving of things, and feeling overwhelmed by options. I have a mentor who has a role that she's inviting me to apply for, and I know that if I really wanted it, I could absolutely get it. And I just have this like uneasy feeling, like this, oh no, like is she feeling sorry for me, or like, oh, what if I disappoint her? So yeah, it's some sort of unworthiness. So it's not about body or eating, or it's just this
Yeah.
sense of, ugh, cringe. Will I do a good job? Just a ton of self-doubt and not deserving.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what to do with that, but I'll start by voicing it.
Awesome. That's the beginning.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it's very visceral, this discomfort, this unease.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
And
good.
like, it would be amazing, but this sense of like, ooh, but how will it go?
Could be risky. Yeah.
Yes. What if I don't live up to that? Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. There you go. It's good. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Okay. How about Abby?
Yeah, I've had actually a few realizations in the past couple of days. It's definitely been a rocky couple of days. But I think what keeps popping into my head right now is that I feel like there's this sense that if I gain weight or I keep overeating or eating the foods that I'm eating and gain weight, that I don't deserve to exist. I don't deserve to do the things. And I really got that sense when I was thinking about, because I went up and went riding with my mom, and I felt like if I put on weight, I won't be able to ride. And it just felt like I can't exist if I'm not a certain way. And that's no wonder I'm like scared of everything.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Hmm.
it's a scary place to be in. Yeah, that's what I keep trying to think is, oh, the other one is that I just feel like I'm not going to get this. I'm not going to get this.
Oh.
I'm like the one person who's not going to get this. And well,
Yeah.
it's very self-absorbed thinking, but it's there,
Yeah. Okay. That's good. That's a good one for me to write down. I won't get it. It's not uncommon. Okay.
Grace, I just have to say thank you so much. I'm so grateful for you. I just have to say that. That's another thing that just popped out, not to like put you on the spot, but thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Grateful for you and everyone too. Amazing. Okay, beautiful. So, Laura, how about you?
Hi.
Hello.
Today, what I've noticed is that I'm not as frantic. I'm not as worried. And I'm beginning to believe the thought that if I don't be frantic, that I will be able to eat peace more. Brilliant, right?
Uh-huh. Right. Yeah.
All right, I get an A. So, and I just watched how that felt today.
Mhm.
I noticed that, like, I ate soup for lunch that I normally would not allow myself to have because it's too many carbs. But it really sounded good because we had so much snow today and I just felt all snugly warm. And normally what I would do is like, oh, I can have crackers, right? And I've got these really good crackers and I can sneak some other crackers. And I didn't want crackers. I didn't even want bread. I just didn't want it, which was so, I don't even understand how that happened. It just did. So I just noticed. I ate the soup and then didn't know whether I should have a little bit more, the rest of it. I think there's, and I did. I probably was probably a little more compulsive than, but I just ate it.
Mhm.
Really good. It was really good. And then I really enjoyed doing work today with Lori.
Mm.
It
Oh,
was really nice. Um,
good.
yeah, it felt really good to do the work. And I did the work on I should be a certain weight. And once again, you know, when I first started the work, I was all about doing the work on myself, and I was taken and told, no, redirect, you do it on other people. And I'm like, well, it's not anybody else's problem, it's mine.
Mhm.
And then they redirected me and said, no, here, fill out a judge your neighbor worksheet, do it on somebody else. Come on, get mean. We know what's in you. And I did. And I found that I could do a whole lot more than I realized. I had a whole lot more, really got into that. And now with this, I have done more one leaf at a time. And it's
Mhm.
different. And I find that I'm not, without finding a spot, I'm not finding, like, when I do a JYN and I'm really uptight about something, mad at somebody about it, I can do it within a half an hour, 45 minutes. I've got relief. You know, I've got true conversion, actualization. It's there. I am way too committed to these stories on weight. So I am not getting that immediate. And I'm starting to be okay with that. Like today,
Uh-huh.
it's like, okay,
Yeah.
all right. I
Yeah.
see some things, but I'm still believing. I'm a
Mhm.
believer.
Yeah.
So good day.
Yeah.
Good day.
Which is
Yeah.
one thing, you can all hear that and say, and all of us will notice that these patterns, they tend to be so deep, and we're the kind of we're the person seeing them and watching them, and it like feels very risky to not believe. Like, wait a minute, I've believed this since I was 11, or I mean, and it seems like there's a lot of proof, so it's okay to just stay with it and like redo it over and over again. Just keep watching.
Well, and it's a very strange dynamic, almost like I don't even know how to explain it. It's like being in between two different worlds. It's like, well, now what's real?
Mm.
You
Mm. Mm.
know, it's like,
Mm.
wait, I'm not sure where I'm standing. I'm not sure of my foundation because it's that,
Mhm.
that's not real. You mean I've been that deceived? Whoa. Okay. Wow. You know, it's just it's weird. That's the best way I can describe the feeling I'm having. Is it's just weird.
Yeah. 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 No, good.
Weird is better than completely obsessed.
Yeah. Right. Love it. Love that you're here.
I love that I'm here too.
All right. Let's say hello to Heidi. Hello, Heidi.
How you doing?
Good.
I know there's a few things going on. One, I'm still working like really hard on self-compassion stuff.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And I did listen to a Tara Brach thing on Hungry Ghosts. I'm not sure if it was the one you posted because I had one queued up to listen to before that. So
Yeah.
just thinking about that attachment.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So that's one thing I've been thinking about a lot this week. And the other thing that I've noticed and that I've changed is, so I've been on, I've really restricted my food the past few years because of inflammation reasons.
Mhm.
and I'm about to give up on it,
Hmm.
thinking that these restrictions aren't really helping the inflammation anyway.
Uh-huh.
So going back to, you know, not restricting myself, and I'm still so disappointed
Mm.
that food hasn't been a healer. Like, you know, they say there's medicine, and, you know, like eat right, and there's a lot of disappointment around that.
Yeah, that's a good thing to notice. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. All right, Kevin's here. Nice to see you, my friend.
Hi, Grace. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, it's nice to see you. It's timely that you're having this, because I, like Heidi, have been on a restrictive diet for years, hoping to deal with some physical issues, which sometimes I wonder what degree of hypochondriacness there is involved. But I am eating healthier than I have my whole life. I've eaten like really shitty my whole life. So I'm glad to be eating better, but the restrictiveness, I don't know that it's worth it anymore. And over the holidays, somebody, like, I haven't eaten chocolate in over a year, or hadn't, I should say, because over the holidays, somebody in the office brought these little homemade bonbon things that they made, and I thought, oh, I'll just try one. It was so fucking good. I've had chocolate like every day since then, like for 2 months. And I'm just like, and now like giving in is like not resisting. There's a value to not resisting, but there's also a value to resisting, and it's like I cannot find the middle ground. And the chocolate is like, it's so good. I love it so much.
You find yourself overeating it, or are you just able to? Oh yeah, so that's hard. Yeah, that place where the needle goes. And for some reason, I love remembering you're talking about the peanut butter jar. You know.
Yeah, now it's chocolate.
Yeah, yeah. So it's powerful to notice it's the same food, but something happens and then it's over. Like, you know, just being in touch with that. It's very tricky. It's very tricky when we've just kind of, especially with that piece about resistance. If I'm not allowed to have it, if there's a rule like it's against the law, there's a natural part that wants to rebel. You know, like, I don't want these rules. I even just want to not have the craving so intensely.
Yeah, I want to be able to eat a little bit of chocolate and be fine with it. But whatever's going on, I can't. I have to eat the whole chocolate bar.
Yeah.
And go buy another one maybe.
Yeah. You can watch and see if while you're eating it, are you really letting yourself eat it? Or is there something saying you shouldn't be eating it?
It's a mixture of both, at least. I'm thoroughly enjoying it, like every bite. Like, I mean, when it was with the peanut butter, it'd get to the point where like there'd be one spoonful, or where I'd say to myself, you know, I'm really not just enjoying this, but I can't seem to stop. But with the chocolate, no, it's just like I'm thoroughly enjoying every bite. Yeah, it's an interesting juxtaposition.
Yeah. Well, glad you're here. Sweet to be watching this. It's like the subtleties and where we're at. It's just wonderful. I mean, we're on the right track by the awareness and noticing and watching and finding a balance here.
Yeah, and I'm also working with the idea of the self-compassion.
Yeah.
I'm doing the best I can.
Yes. So kind to the self to do that instead of all that harsh whipping of the self. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Maggie.
Hi.
Hello.
So today I noticed Well, first, I can really relate to the food restrictions too. I kind of come and go on that. But today I noticed the tension in my body. I was hungry, so it was time to eat. And I was eating something that really wasn't going to satisfy me. I had some bread and just something really fast.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't what if I had taken a moment and really thought and planned and connected with myself, it's not what I would have chosen if I was in a calm moment. So, I guess binging is what you would call it. And not a lot, but some. And so I noticed it, which was cool because usually I just go right through it and don't stop at all. But I was able to stop and notice it. And I just felt the tension in my body. And I said, okay, why am I eating? Because, what's the relationship? And the message was really clear. There was a safety issue.
Oh.
I don't feel safe. And it feels a bit like I'm disconnecting from my body. So I'm not really caring for myself when I do that. It's that sort of like the nurturing parent not caring for the child. That's sort of not safe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And it can happen in a second. It's like,
yeah.
I mean, how kind of yourself to go get some food if you're hungry. Perfect. And even if it's not exactly the right food or whatever, and then just watching how something shifts.
Yeah.
In there, seeing it changes moment to moment.
Mm-hmm.
That's yeah. Awesome. Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Wendy's here. If you're able to share, Wendy, I can unmute you and yeah.
You're asking me, Grace?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
And thank you. I'm on the periphery. I'm not feeling brave enough to be seen, so I'm sitting back. So I don't know if you've got a visual or not. I hope not.
No, we don't have a visual.
No? Okay.
No visual.
So I just need to blurt out because I don't know where to start. I haven't been, although I've been listening to the Marco Polo chats and reading on Slack when I can, and I've gone through a lot of the foundation material, and but I haven't been active. So I'm sitting here thinking, oh, I don't know what to say.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love that you just showed up. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yes.
Relate. I would like to just hide in my little hidey hole in the corner and never, especially on this topic. Oh my God.
Well, it could be quite a long-winded story, and it's been really interesting though because I so wanted to be a part of this, and the complexity in my head around my food world can be all-consuming, but it's been peculiar in the last 2 weeks. I have let go of so many, and I haven't even really consciously said to myself, I'm going to let go of my food rules and my restrictions. It's just all of a sudden it's clear, and I'm in a really altered place with it all. And but so it's all good, and yet I'm uneasy with it, but I'm not. It's just strange. It's really interesting. And I keep to the work, yes, back just to simplicity. Who would I be without this? The identity that I have grown around my food story it's unbelievable. And who would I be without that? It's so interesting. And what would I do with my mind if I wasn't so consumed? But I absolutely adore the part of it when I say to myself, how do I react when I think that thought? Because then everything changes for me. It's like, oh my God, wow.
Yeah. Oh, so good. I just love it.
So there's so many things that I'd like to play with a little more deeply, because I think that there's so much here to learn and unravel, and that's what drew me.
I'm so
Absolutely.
glad. So glad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that you're here. Just love it.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. The power of the people, even on the periphery, you know, just very important. Who knows? All right. I know we're just hearing from everybody, but I love it right now because we're still kind of at the beginning of our time together. How about Dee? Hi there.
Hi,
Yay.
hello. So I'm also noticing how uncomfortable I am with the video part of this.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Um,
Good to
just
be
don't.
aware. Lots of times with this whole thing, it's like, I don't really want to be seen. In the world, I just don't want to be seen.
I don't know if it's just that. I think it's also I don't want to see myself. Because like if I think if the video was on, but if I could see you guys but not myself, it wouldn't be so distracting to me. But I just feel like when it's on, I keep checking, and you know the voices are just relentless. So I'm not comfortable with the video yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Besides that, I very much relate to the chocolate experience. I didn't buy any today, so it'll be like the first night in a while that I'm not gonna have any at home. So I'm gonna see how that goes.
That could be a thought that we all look at together. Just you have your food item that you're looking at, and we'll just potentially see a stressful belief about it. Yeah. In the foundation, some of you might have come across it. There's a guided filling out a Judge Your Neighbor worksheet on a specific food. I'm pretty sure it's me talking, right, and guiding you. I think so. And that can be really interesting to just look at what you believe about that food, including just the wanting it, and just very interesting. So, yeah, what it will be like if you don't have it. So, good. I'm glad you're here.
Me too.
I'm glad to see you. All right. Who has not spoken yet? I got mixed up. Teresa? Yay. Okay. Teresa. Make sure you're unmuted. There you go.
We go. All right. I, much like Dee, was thinking the same thing. If I could just not see myself, because I find myself worried about what people are thinking about me. Oh, she looks fat, whatever. I don't know. So that's on the forefront. Also, just the thought I am fat is there. And then we had some bad storms roll through our city today, and trees down and neighbors' houses. Thank God our house is fine. But I'm feeling really not safe right now. So
Yeah. It's good to notice. Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else who didn't share yet? Okay. All right. So just from listening to you all, if somebody has one, they've thought like, oh, I have a burning desire to do this thought. Well, just put it out there. We'll all walk through the inquiry with it. But definitely noticing this one, there's that food. Does that sound good to do? Something as simple as yes?
Yeah, I was thinking about something about sugar being unhealthy, because that covers a lot of foods.
You can just go, that food is unhealthy. Yeah. And just watch. So that food is unhealthy. You can pick something that you like, you know. Let's do it. And of course, it never means, you know, it's very interesting with this work. It doesn't mean, well, we get to do the work, right? We're just looking. It brings awareness to that. So that food is unhealthy. Right. Everybody just picture your food. Is that true? That food is unhealthy. And if you're just immediately saying yes, of course it is. Yes, you know. Can you absolutely know that that's true? And just see what you're finding. You can share if you have any interesting, it's not just an automatic immediate yes, or if you found a no. What you find there, that food is unhealthy. Can you absolutely know that that's true?
I think the absolutely not knowing is more stressful than the original thought. Like not knowing, you know, what's good to eat and what's not good to eat is very stressful.
That's interesting. That's a really powerful thing to notice. I love that. Why does it feel stressful? Like what's the stress about it in your words? If I don't know, that's worrisome because
Because of all the diseases out there. I mean, I have multiple people my age that I know with cancer.
because I could be eating something that would damage me or kill me or hurt me. Yeah. So I have to know what it is. Yeah. Okay. I love that, just watching. If I answer no, can I absolutely know it's true, or just watching uncertainty, and that sometimes it might not mean what we think it means. Like we'll think if I say no, it means I'm just going to eat it all the time, all day long, or I'll ignore science or, you know, just data or information. So let's notice what happens when you believe the thought, that food that I find that I like is unhealthy. How do you react when you believe that thought? And Kevin, if I don't feel good when I eat it, that probably means it's unhealthy, right? That's a good one. If I don't feel good when I eat it, it means it's unhealthy. That's great. Let's just look. And I absolutely know that that's true. Still not quite sure with the absolute part. And interesting, release, right, or is it in our minds creating a sense of unease when we eat it? Yeah, is it anxiety behind the eating that bad food that's causing me to feel bad? I don't know. Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah. So just really, what's really interesting about it is we're noticing.
Fun, is Pierce there? Okay.
Well, I think what's interesting is noticing we've not for sure know what the meaning of health is or unhealthy at every moment. There's my thoughts and my attitudes, and it doesn't mean I, you know, even given all the details and science and nutritional, everything that we all know. Okay. That food is unhealthy. So what happens when you believe it is true. And you also like it.
So I'm working with this thought is unhealthy.
Ah, good one. Yeah.
And I'm finding with how I react,
Mhm.
I feel bad that I'm thinking the thought, and the thought is I'm not good enough. It's just
Yeah.
not deserving.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I shouldn't be thinking it. So I'm going into the self-judgment, self-punishment,
Mhm.
resisting having the thought, wondering why is just that I react by spinning, by the self-attack, self-judgment, more shame. Yeah, just a shame spiral.
Spiral. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Really does get to be a spiral, and I shouldn't be thinking. I've thought it, and now I shouldn't be thinking it. The thought is unhealthy. Isn't that so fascinating? All right. What else? What else do you notice? How do you treat the thought or the food? What's the energy like between you and it when you think it's unhealthy and you like it?
So I want to hide because I like something that's bad. So I want to hide with it. I still like it, but I don't want
Right.
other people to. It is shaming. It's still shaming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I like something bad. It can like really. I could see where it goes to so many other things that, you know, we may have been brought up with or culturally we have as beliefs.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, like I like something bad, therefore I'm bad. And like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. Yeah.
It's almost like personifying personifying the food or the thought, like it has the power to make us bad. I don't know, that's kind of maybe that's far reaching, but it feels to me like Grace, you were asking how we might treat that food, and I feel like, and I'm like, how do I treat the food? Because I'm so focused on how I'm treating myself and what I'm feeling. And I'm like, I treat it like it's got its own entity to some extent, like it's got some power over me. I didn't realize that I was doing that, but that it's not just food, it's something else. It's something bigger than food, and it's just food. I'm realizing as you ask that, like I am making it into something other than food. It's bad, whatever it is, whatever the science said, it's still food. That's it. That's it. It's food. So I treat it like it's something it's not just food, it's something huge. It's got like some answer to how bad I am, or some in that in that food there's like some answer, and I don't know what I'm looking for in it, but
I'm thinking that I have more of a relationship with food than I do with my husband. And that when I eat white bread and nobody can see with lots of butter, that's my affair.
Yes.
But it feels like I've never had an affair before, but man, I can imagine that's probably close to how it feels.
Yeah.
Don't want anyone to know, don't want anyone to see. And I love, love, love that, again, that opening of my mind, thinking that my belief that it's bad. Now, I have done a ton of study on white bread. I mean, I can sit here and the first thing I want to do is go to defense, right?
Yeah.
Let me just tell you my story, right? But if I can't believe that thought, all of a sudden Bruce Lipton comes to mind, and all the other scientists that have blown us away in the last little while with DNA and how our thoughts can even change our DNA. So why in the hell can't we change our thoughts around food and how it affects us? So my thinking about white bread makes it dangerous for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done. I'm gonna go now.
Ah, you passed.
And you just watch how you're, in some ways, you're describing being a victim of the food. It's making me feel terrible, you know, or my mind, you know, like my mind should be having good thoughts at all times, or like, you know, you just sort of set this.
Well, and I do blame food because I do have physical disease and am worried about inflammation. And, you know, I have noticed that when I eat foods that do not bring inflammation, I feel better. So there are things I notice, but am I doing that because I believe that those will make me feel better?
Right. Yeah.
You know, the other night I had something that I wouldn't normally eat, and it did not hurt me like it normally has in the past. And I thought that was so weird. And I ignored it because that can't be true. It's got to hurt me, because if it doesn't hurt me, I'll keep on eating it.
So good to see that so fast. Yeah.
That's your fault.
So great to see the contention. You know, I almost like I have to contend with this thing. There's an argument here. There's a
Battle.
That thing is unhealthy, and I like it, you know.
And if it's bad for me, they're going to take it away from me.
Ooh,
You know, I don't know who, but
yeah,
it's bad for me. So someone's going to take it away.
yeah.
So like that, for me, that's where I feel I better have it now. All of it.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
It's gonna go away soon, and it'll be just a memory. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I'm also so aware of when I think about it being unhealthy, how it brings up thoughts of other lacks in my life. You know, I lack this and I lack that, and I don't have this and I don't have that. So like, and now I can't have this either.
Yeah. Yeah.
This makes me focus a lot on what I lack.
Yeah.
I don't know if somebody already said, by virtue of the food being unhealthy and perhaps therefore bad, if I'm eating it, if I want to eat it, then that makes me bad.
Yes. Yeah. And I notice some of us, you know, so you have that, well, then I need to control this liking of it. I mean, you know, I don't know, there's just sort of even a relationship to wanting something becomes dangerous and difficult.
And I've heard people say that the United States is largely founded on like Puritan beliefs. And, you know, think of the Scarlet Letter that we read in high school, and like they're not allowed to have any pleasure at all, right? And to get pleasure out of food, I mean, how
barbaric.
Right. I mean, it's a great thing to notice and just watch. Yeah, like conditioning on dangerous. Pleasure is dangerous.
Yeah.
Boy, we could have a discussion about that now, couldn't we?
Yes. Yeah.
You know, I keep thinking about connection and how addiction is directly related connection, and I believe that's true. And so I'm connecting with food, and I keep on thinking about how my daughter cut herself, you know, and I'm wondering if that is not the same thing by stuffing myself and making myself sick, or making myself so aware of my body that I have to think about that, and it makes me feel alive because other things are hurting. I don't know. I really don't know.
I do love that sort of simple awareness too, that food is life, like it gives us life, you know, and so if we're stuffing it in, maybe there's something that feels dead in us, you know.
Yeah.
Disconnected.
Oh, I like that. I definitely can find that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Very compassionate question instead of all the
Yep.
harsh, what's wrong with you? And
Mm.
so,
Yeah.
Grace, I love how you mentioned in the Marco Polo, or was it maybe on a share, when we were talking about bread and butter and, bread, the staff of life, and all that symbolism. And what was just said reminded me of that, these, and this idea of an illicit affair with bread and butter is very appealing. Just so,
sorry.
I love it. I love it. It's shameful, exciting, dangerous, controlling, wrong. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. No, just kidding.
Yeah, get that picture out of my head.
Yeah. Well, and it is very, some of you are thinking about different foods, and it is interesting to look at just the quality and the nature of that food. That's when that can be an interesting, if you kind of find the different things that, kind of have a draw, and they might have an interesting connection in the mind. Maybe I want a little sweetness in my day, or in something that feels sour, that feels bitter. Maybe there's bitterness in some part of me. Just to see what's there. But bread and butter, I always think of, it's like the basics. We say that. Well, my bread and butter is, and that's your basic job, or your income, or your survival, your security, what you really live on. And you're thinking of it as something you're sneaking. Interesting, So, and like deserving in there, it's interesting too. Well, let's see what happens. Who would you be without the thought? And as always in this particular work, extra important to wonder if there's something dangerous about not having the thought, if you notice that. But without the belief, that thing is unhealthy. Like there it is.
So, yeah, so for me, without the thought that the thought is unhealthy, I just let it be there, and I'm curious, and I notice it, and I don't attach, and I stay calm, and I'm okay.
Nice. It's like this moment, the present moment can include that. It can just be floating through, and yeah. Sometimes like those thoughts that come in like, I hear ya. Thanks for sharing. Glad you came with me today.
I get the feeling, I got that image, Grace, you know how you use the term Velcroed to something so often. I love that imagery, but it popped into my head. I pictured the food and I didn't have the thought, and I didn't feel Velcroed to it. It didn't feel like and in so doing, I realized that I am so attached to it when I have the thought, and it makes me like, it may not start out so, but as I'm eating the food, it makes me start to spin, and then I don't listen to my body. I become disconnected. But without the thought, it almost goes like poof. So the Velcro totally comes apart, and it's so interesting because I just didn't realize how Velcroed that thinking was to the food, or has become so in the past couple of days even. Yeah.
Love that. I find the same thing. It's like that thought that was following right on it, like kind of hooked to it. I want it. It's unhealthy, and I want it. It's the I want it part becomes more free to see if I do or not. Like I get to find out it without the thought it is unhealthy, or the way we're holding that unhealthy.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, because it's like that unhealthy, and I'm eating it and I want it, which makes me bad, which is what everyone's been talking about. It's like it all becomes unvelcroed, and so it's like that. There goes the attachment to the food too. So it becomes food. It becomes food again, not something bigger.
Yeah.
I'm really noticing in my day to day, like yesterday today, that my lack of resistance, and Jerry, I think I really love how you pointed this out, or if you did, but this is what I got from what you were saying, is a resistance to the thought, a resistance to my own being, resisting that, and calling it self-control, or calling it being good to myself. And that resistance in the last couple of days, I'm like, I'm not resistant to any food except liver and onions. I refuse to. But I'm not, and I don't want the white bread. I didn't eat it for lunch. I just simply didn't want it. I wasn't resisting it. I just didn't want it. I don't have, it's 6:30 my time, almost 7. I haven't had any cravings. I don't know how in the hell that happened. Okay, but I'm going to notice that I have not had, I don't know what's going to happen when I leave here, this room, but it's resistance. It's the more I resist, the more I want. Does that sound like familiar to anybody?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. More resist.
Well, I'm going to resist having a perfect body. I am not allowed to have a perfect body. That's it. That works.
Wow.
It's tricky in that I sorry to jump in again on that, but I just, what's tricky there is that I find that I'm resisting just like that, but I don't even know I'm resisting. So it's like peeling back the layers, I guess, for lack of a better analogy. And it's just so deep, I don't even see it. I just know I'm resisting, and it is starting to come apart, but it's tricky. And I know that you guys have used that term before, that it's all tricky and layered and hiding.
It's automatic.
Yeah.
Very old. It's like we know what we're supposed to be afraid of, or is dangerous, and avoid and watch out for, and that it shouldn't be there, and we shouldn't be in its presence, and we shouldn't do it. And the whole just gets heavy, very heavy. And just, this is like, it's big. Who would I be without that thought? Who would I be without that story? Even in just a moment, if I just set it down for a moment, that is unhealthy. And everything we put on unhealthy, there's some things that are unhealthy and we have no trouble with it being unhealthy. You know what I mean? Like, there it is over there. I don't know. This piece of paper. It's probably too extreme of a, but it just, I mean, since we can join with it and consume it, and it's pleasurable, and there's something about that, like what you all were mentioning. So it's just interesting to just relax and notice what's here when I don't believe the thought. And then all the way to the turnaround. All the way to that turnaround. Very bizarre. It's healthy. But just to make it not so extreme, black and white, like this thing, this food, how could that be healthy?
Healthy for me to eat it when I'm resisting and thinking that so many things are unhealthy. So it's just healthy for me to do it. Healthy for me to do it, to see that I can eat it and not fall down dead.
Yeah, I like it. That's great. Right? It's not quite as dramatic as is in the myth. Right. Yeah.
It's healthy. It's better than paper. Not far off, but it's better than paper.
Right.
And do I really know that it's unhealthy? Do I really know?
Yeah.
I don't. So it is healthy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a push.
Also like noticing just could it be healthy to be drawn to something, to find pleasure in something. It doesn't mean you have to keep eating this for the rest of your life constantly or something, or eat too much of it, but just that it's healthy. You know, it's kind of like seems to exist, wanting something. Even animals want things, you know, so it's just, could that be healthy too?
No, I think about this group of deer that live on our property, especially in the wintertime. And they start up by coming up really close to the house to get these crab apples. And 3 huge crabapple trees, and they take great danger and they think they're in danger. I mean, they're in no danger, but they think they're in danger to come up and have pleasure.
Yeah.
And they have a beastie brain.
Uh-huh.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's a whole other thing, you know? Yeah. Just pleasure, just food.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even if you have to find, you know, it's healthy for it to be in my presence, it's healthy for it that it exists. Yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting. Just whatever fits, just not watching the weight of it's so unhealthy and all that means.
My husband loves toast with his breakfast, and I don't make him breakfast every morning, but when I do, he is so happy, and he just loves toast.
Uh-huh.
So it's healthy for me to feed him white bread.
Uh-huh.
Because he's happy, you know.
Yeah.
I don't need to be in his business. I tried for years, and he just finally got tired and said, "Stay in your own lane. Feed me, you know, I want white bread. Please buy white bread." What? I love you.
Yeah.
No, I want you to eat.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I can find a lot of reasons why it's healthy. I really can.
Uh-huh. I mean, it's really interesting. Many of you know my Bit-O honey story, when I just was like, it was such a crime. It was like I had this about so many foods and was trying to be so pure and like have just this pure attitude about everything, not just food. And goodness, very perfectionist. And in that process, like with support, I thought, what's the worst thing that I could eat that I also love, which is Bit-O honey, and especially out of the machine at work, because I have to be in public pulling the handle and putting the coins in and everybody's seeing, and you know, and it was like my little recipe for my prescription for testing and happiness was to have one of those every single day. And it was amazing to me to have, like, based on how my mind was before, to have this be the new, that I actually need to have one of those every day. And it was just like amazing. And that I didn't fall down dead, you know. And there was just one day, oh, I forgot to have my Bit-O honey, but I was like letting myself have it. Now, would I say, you know, whatever it's made out of, which I don't even know, but it just faded out. And it was no longer, in fact, in remembering the Bit-O honey story, I was on a road trip with my husband maybe a year or two ago, and I thought, I wonder if they still even make that thing, you know. And we checked in the store, and they did, and I bought it. I was like, we ate it, and I didn't even like it that much. Oh, that's so funny. I wonder if it's changed. It must be different from what it once was. But you know, yeah. So it was just like not that, like, you know, the criminal situation. And it just never occurs to me about eating that at all. But you know what I mean? So it's just like, without the belief, it is unhealthy, and that's the absolute. So it was healthy for me to eat this thing, paradoxically, that I know is factory made and probably doesn't have, you know, all that, the factory food thing. For me, that worked. Now, some people, you know, that's a big project to engineer foods that are made out of stuff that aren't real food, to get people to want to eat them, eat more and more and more of them. So you get to just see, but the power of the mind, I find, is definitely stronger. So just noticing healthy to just be here, healthy to have a desire, healthy to have, you get to have choice, healthy because I can choose, however it fits for you. And my thinking is unhealthy in the moment when it comes to this thing, when it comes to this item. It's a little cancerous. It's like overgrowth, you know. Yeah. The thing that I'm afraid of getting, like cancer or whatever, my thinking's kind of like that. Or weighted, or, you know, whatever I'm afraid of. Could my thinking be that? Like very heavy, very weighty. Yeah, kind of like Abby was saying, it's just food.
The stress of the thoughts is more unhealthy than the food itself.
Yes, yes, yes. Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Grace,
Yeah.
I'm looking at the turnarounds and I'm having some trouble turning it around to the other. If my statement is bread is unhealthy,
Yeah. I mean,
is there an other there?
you can, sometimes I like finding, you can see if it's like, so it's unhealthy for me. So I'm unhealthy for the bread. You know, I'm maybe the unhealthy one. You hold that with compassion, like not the bread. Bread
Right.
is over there being itself, actually, you know, that I'm unhealthy in response to bread.
Right.
Kind of
So now it's my fault that the bread is unhealthy. Great. Okay.
Right. Always.
Sorry, everybody, for doing that. I will stop believing that it's unhealthy so that we can all eat it.
And remember, yes, a turnaround, just noticing, kiss and not a slap, just compassion. And for the mind, you know, just the mind is saying that.
Well, I can think of lots of ways I'm unhealthy for the bread. One, you know, it's gone. It's not there anymore.
I destroy and crush the bread with my mouth, and I destroy it, and you know.
Right, you know, so
yes, it's over.
And then also how I talk about it, you know, like if it, you know, if everything in the world, you know, in the world has a soul of some kind, then I'm not very compassionate when I talk about it.
Right, yeah. Kind of like that affair metaphor, you know, having this, there's this thing that I love so much. Well, maybe I'm not very good for the affair, you know, maybe I have my part, you know. And a living turnaround. So if we had a living turnaround, just relaxing about the intensity of all this, you know, healthy and non-healthy. And it's just some of it has to do with that lack of health that this thing has. It's, why am I so afraid of it? It's going to kill me, right? Because there are all those things with, you know, that food causes all these symptoms and bad things for you. But sort of without all that, the heaviness of all that with the future, you might get to decide. You have free choice. There it is. It exists, and I can decide if I'm eating it or not. But a living turnaround, what I was seeing is just having, instead of, oh my gosh, there it is, that terribly unhealthy thing, like, oh, how beautiful, look at that incredible thing they make, you know, or whatever. Just somehow tapping into some sense of joy about that. And it doesn't mean you're going to eat it either. Just celebrating, there it is. Just getting a feeling in the body, or even just neutral. Yeah. Instead of there's my enemy, there's my, maybe not even my friend. There's, oh, there it is. And great, there you are.
There's my bad romance.
There's, right. Yes, yes. And there might even be ways it's like gratitude where you say, oh, thank you for being there. Now I'm learning new ways that I don't have to be ashamed of. Don't have to sneak around.
First boyfriend I'm not interested in anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, a beautiful inquiry, everyone. Yeah, very sweet, very interesting. Probably more. Let it just percolate in there. And Jess, only man I ever think of with regret.
It's a song. It's a line from a jazz tune. I can't remember what it's called now. Someone to Watch Over Me. That's the one.
Oh, yes, yes. Good one. Yeah. All right, lovely to be with you and hear your minds and your sharing. Just very precious, everyone. Thank you so much. Lovely.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.